Good day, everyone. I am Jay Anivertidanza,
And I am Mami Sibaliesas,
and we are from BSid English 3. Today, we will present the 3 learning competency switches under Grammar Awareness of Grade 7, Quarter 4, based on Kids to Love Curriculum English Guide. First learning competency, use of imperatives when giving instructions, suggestions, advice, and orders. It's content standard. The learner demonstrates understanding of contemporary Philippine literature as a means of responding to the demands of the global village. Various extended text types, laxo, and contextual cues, appropriate and polite oral language, stance and behavior, and use of imperatives, prepositions, verbs, and WH questions. It's open-minded questions. First, when do we use imperatives? In English, we use the imperative form to give instructions, give directions, suggestions, orders, or make requests. The imperative is easy to form. We simply use the base form of the verb. In this posting, I talk about how to form and use the imperative. Now, how we can use the imperative in positive and negative forms. We add the word please to say it in a polite way or positive way. For example, please be quiet. Please do your homework. Please go to sleep. Please feed the dog. Please open your book. Please study English. Please subscribe to my blog. Remember that using please would add politeness when giving instructions, orders, and requests. And to make the imperatives negative, place the words do not or don't in front of the base form of the verb. For example, do not sit down. Don't touch the bottom. Don't forget about the party tonight. Don't cheat on your partner. Don't be noisy. Third, what are some imperative words we can use in giving instructions? Words such as work on, go back, put in, blend, and measure. For example, your boss gives you instructions at work. She may say, work in this project until lunchtime. Or your teacher say, go back to your proper seats. And your teacher in baking class says, measure 1 cup of flour. Put in a medium-sized bowl. Blend but don't overmix. Another example, if an owner's manual uses the imperative when it tells you how to do something, she may use imperative words such as open, remove, replace, and close. For example, to change the ink cartridges in your printer, first open the door indicated on the diagram. Remove the empty cartridge. Replace it with a new one. Close the door. That's imperative and can be very forceful. Yes, when you are angry or when you are giving a direct order, such as in the military. For example, don't lie. Stop talking. 4. March. Next, how do you give advice politely using imperative words? We use imperative to give advice or suggestions to someone. He or she is not required to do as we say, but we think it would be a good idea. Here are some examples. You are ill. Go to the doctor. Deposit your paycheck now so that you can pay your rent. Make sure you get your car serviced before you go on a road trip. Don't take her too seriously. She yells at everyone. Another, what word do we need if we want to emphasize something? If we want to add emphasis, we often add the word just. For example, just do it. This means stop wasting time and do what you promised. Just sign right here. This means it's easy. Sign your name. All you have to do is just sign right here. This means you only have to do one thing and nothing else. Sign your name. Last questions. What are some common traffic words and expressions and imperatives? Words such as continue, turn, keep going, take a left, pull over, slow down, speed up, and go ahead. For example, continue 5 miles until you come to the highway. Just turn left at the second street after the traffic light. Keep going until you pass a shopping mall. Take a left on a Broadway. You need to pull over when you hear a siren. Always slow down in the school zone. You can speed up after you pass the school zone. Go ahead and change lanes. It's clear. Now you know that we use the imperatives to give directions, suggestions, and advice. The imperative is the base form of the verb. We can make it negative. However, by adding don't in front of the base form of the verb, we can also soften it and make it more polite by adding such words as please. And let's say why don't we or won't you. Now, it's your turn to apply it in your daily communication. Second, learning competency. Use verbs when giving information and making explanations. And its content standard. The learner demonstrates understanding of contemporary Philippine literature as a means of corresponding to the demands of the global village, various extended text types, lexical and contextual cues, appropriate and polite oral language, stance and behavior, and use of imperatives, prepositions, verbs, and WH question. It's open-ended questions. What is verb? Verbs are the action words in a sentence that describe what the subject is doing. Along with nouns, verbs are the main part of a sentence or phrase, telling a story about what is taking place. In fact, without a verb, full thoughts can't be properly conveyed, and even the simplest sentences, such as Maria sings, have won. Actually, a verb can be a sentence by itself, with a subject, in most cases you implied, such as sing and drive. What are the 9 types of verbs that help make a sentence in giving information and explanation? With all the jobs verbs have, it's not surprising that there is more than one type. In fact, there are 9 types of verbs, and understanding them can help you make your writing more interesting. Action verbs describe action that someone can do or demonstrate. Most verbs are action verbs. Typically, action verbs follow nouns and pronouns in a sentence. Stative verbs describe a position or state of being that you can't see, but exists anyway. While they don't perform any visible action, notice that they are typically followed by a direct object. Most verbs are regular verbs, verbs that only add d or ed in their past tense form. Verbs that change form into past tense are regular verbs. Transitive verbs express an action and are followed by a direct object. They transfer their action to another noun or underline. Many transitive verbs don't make sense without an object. Intransitive verbs express an action, but they are not followed by an object. However, they can be followed by a phrase. Linking verbs connect the subject to details about the subject. Various forms of the verb to be are linking verbs, including am, is, are, and were. Auxiliary verbs, also known as helping verbs, help the maintained verb of the sentence, known as a participle, by extending its meaning. You'll see them in verb phrases where one verb doesn't form a complete thought, or in perfect verb tenses. Just like compound nouns combine 2 words to create a new noun, compound verbs combine 2 words to create a new verb. Compound verbs can be 1 or 2 words long, or they can be hyphenated. How do we use action verbs in giving information and making explanation? Here are examples of action verbs in a sentence. Naomi accepted the job offer. We baked a carrot cake. She ironed her dress. Mark drinks vanilla latte. How about examples of linking verbs in a sentence? Damien is an expert craftsman. We became best friends in high school. You seem kind and thoughtful. I am taller than my brother. Another example of modal verbs.
We will find the perfect pumpkin. Tiffany might want another helping of pie. I must finish this project tonight. The whole team should be there. Give some transitive verbs. And they are brought, organized, borrow, sent. How about some stative verbs? Deserve, hates, loves, and remember. Last question. Why is verb important when giving information and making explanation? Because it is used to describe motion or convey a subject and action in giving information and even making explanation. Make a statement, help to ask a question, give a command, express action, and express a state of being.
Third, learning competency. Formulate who, what, when, where, why, and how questions.
And its content standard. The learning construct WH questions correctly, formulate content questions based on the ideas expressed, ask precise and appropriate questions on an issue, and raise sensible, challenging, and thought-provoking questions in public forums, panel discussions, and etc. We use these WH questions words to ask certain types of questions. Teacher J.N., when can we use the question word who?
Well, it is when we are asking what or which person or people. For example, who opened the door?
Next, when can we use the question word what?
It is when we are asking for information about something and asking for repetition or confirmation. For example, what is your name? What? I can hear you. You did what?
Third, when can we use the question word when?
It is when asking about time. For example, when did he leave? Now, it is my turn, Teacher Melvi. When can we use the question word where?
Well, it is for asking in or at what place or position. Example, where do they live?
Another. When can we use the question word why?
It is when we are asking for reason and asking what or for. Example, why do you say that?
Okay, last. When can we use the questions word how?
Well, it is when asking about manner. Example, how does this work? And another for that. Also, it is when asking about condition or quality. Example sentence, how was your exam?
Remember, those learning competencies under grammar awareness are a very important part of speech because without them, a sentence cannot exist. And those are important because they help children communicate about different events in their lives by combining words into sentences. By understanding and using some of the tips from above, you can help your child enhance and increase their overall expressive language.